Hey everyone, how's everybody doing? Tonight is going to be really, really fantastic. We are going to do a really cool demonstration for you. Actually, Dimitra gets to do the demonstration. Lucky girl.
Yeah, I'll be
What are you
doing
going to paint?
a subtractive painting, which is actually one of the very first, it is the very first lesson in the mastery program. So I'm going to be doing this little bird. And yeah, you get to have a little taste of what's inside the mastery program and the things that you'll be learning and how we teach. And we're also here to just answer any questions during this live. So that's really what she's here for while I'm painting. So we're kind of doing this together.
Yeah, and I really love this this first lesson that's in the mastery program because it is truly for any level. If you are a brand new beginner and you've never touched paint before, you will be absolutely astounded at what you can pull off in this first lesson. I hear it time and time again where people with no experience do this first lesson, and at the end of it, they're crying because they cannot even believe what they just painted. And likewise, somebody who's pretty experienced has not really tried this or hasn't tried it in a long time, and what you learn is really incredible. So just to set this up, the lesson is actually in 3 parts. So Dimitra is going to demonstrate the first part of the lesson. Because it needs drying time, she won't be able to do the second or third part, but you're going to learn a lot and be really inspired just by watching what she does with the first part. And so in this lesson, it's actually an old master's technique of painting where they made a ground in some sort of dark brown, you know, whether that's Van Dyke brown or raw umber. You're using.
And then I also made a mixture here, which is linseed oil.
Quickly, you wouldn't be able to subtract. So if you used too much linseed oil, it'll be next week or next month before it's dry. And if you want your painting to dry overnight so you can get onto the second layer of glazing, then that's why you would want to mix 1 part linseed oil to 6 parts solvent. And you're going to want to put probably a pretty dark ground on, a little darker than she's going to build it up and add more paint. And so if you're thinking of a value scale of, you know, dark to light, and 5 is somewhere in the middle, and 10, you know, one of the old masters' way of painting. So Rembrandt painted like this, Caravaggio painted like this, and they would put a dark ground, and then they would subtract out of that while it was still wet. And then once that dried, they would do glazing layers, and then they would finish with opaques. So that's what you'll learn your very first week in the mastery program, and you will complete a painting start to finish in your very first week. Everybody paints a bird because birds are fairly easy, and the feathers and the texture that's in the feathers really lends well to this lesson. And you don't need a lot of paint. You just basically need, you know, brown or black, something like that.
Payne's gray. You could do Payne's gray. Or burnt sienna.
And also, I just want to let you know, there is a live chat on this live that we're doing, this live demo. So we have Jake is here, and he can answer questions verbally. So do you want to say hi, Jake?
What's up, everyone? I am so excited for this. This is a very, very fun lesson, and this is the lesson that actually got me sold on the idea that I could be an artist. Before this, I did not have any belief whatsoever that I had an artistic bone in my body. I thought you had to have artistic bones in order to be a painter, but this is the lesson that convinced me otherwise. So I'm excited for you guys to be watching this.
Yeah, so if you have questions along the way, feel free to ask questions. We're here to answer them. You can ask questions about the mastery program, about what she's doing, this lesson in particular. Some of the tools that she has are what we call nibs. So you can get these in a lot of different places. This is a really good drawing one. See, you can go like, it's just got a point on it.
Yeah.
So this is the one that we actually sell in, that comes in the kit, that if you order the kit for the mastery program, it's double-sided, so you have lots of different choices. And it's a great subtraction tool to use while you're doing this method. And what was I going to say? I was going to say something. Oh, just to explain what she's doing right now is you don't draw your bird first and then cover it in the brown, because it would cover up all your drawing. And so what she's doing is just loosely sketching in generally where the form goes, and kind of subtracting it out with this nib.
And this is a super forgiving process. So when you mess up, you can just, take your brush and paint over it. And because the paint's still super wet, you can just push and pull the subtraction. And anyway, you can layer and also subtract. So yeah, I'm just sketching in where I see things. And if I get anything wrong, I can just fix that.
In the mastery program, we teach you drawing at the same time that you learn oil painting. So there's also drawing lessons that coincide with each painting class. So in the mastery program, it's much more in depth, and we really teach you step by step. So we teach you exactly how to draw your bird, and how we teach you to do that is when you look at your source. Another great thing is we provide sources for you, so you don't have to hunt down a source, because a lot of times when you're learning, choosing the right source is half the battle. If you choose a source that, the composition in it or the way that the bird is, let's say, laid out is kind of weird, then your painting's going to come out weird. If there's not enough information of form in that photo, then your painting won't have much form in it.
Hey, Ellie, real quick,
Yeah.
I'm so sorry to interrupt. Dimitra, could you try to hold your source slightly to the side, or
I'm covering it, sorry.
down, or to the side would be better, but I know that might be a little bit hard.
Like right here?
Well, if it was on the other side, then the audience could see it better. Like if you move the painting to the right a little bit, and then, yeah, there we go. Boom, perfect.
All right.
And then if you could, just try to tilt your left shoulder slightly back. Yes. Like if you could try to
I
paint
will
like
try.
that. I know it's hard. It would just be a better experience for everyone.
Okay.
Back to you, Ellie. Sorry.
Well, what I was going to say is, so in drawing the bird, how we would teach you to do it is to find your center. So if you find the center of your object or of your composition, and sort of measure and draw your bird in proportion based on that center. That's sort of your first step. And then we teach you how to find a standard of measurement to measure the rest of your bird by. But since this is sort of a peek, not exactly a step-by-step thorough lesson, but a peek into what you would be learning in the mastery program, Dimitra isn't, showing those small steps and how she's being able to draw this bird. And after you've been painting a while and drawing a while, your eye can kind of see things. And that's really the goal of the mastery program in the first section of drawing, is that by the end of it, by the end of 14 weeks, your eye will just see things. Your eye will see proportion. Your eye will see, the relationship of scale. Your eye will be able to see angles and line things up and draw things in proportion and realistically. And it just basically comes through practice and through a series of lessons that we take you through that really build off of each other. So I always say this to people, and when I used to teach the mastery program in person, I used to tell everybody, it's like the movie Karate Kid. Sometimes you don't know, okay, why am I sitting here drawing these ellipses? What's the point? And before you know it, you have this amazing fluidity of line, and you're able to draw things, like you couldn't before. I was watching a reel today of Tanner, who's standing here, behind the camera, and he was sketching wine glasses, and he was sketching these mimosa glasses in his sketchbook. And when I first saw him starting, I was like, oh yeah, those ellipses, they're kind of off, and I don't know, this is a little wonky. But as he worked through it, they all straightened up. He was able to draw this really great, elegant, tall, thin glass with a nice ellipse, and it was really representational, and he did it so quickly. But he's gone through this section of the mastery program, and he has it in him, and he's able to draw something like that. How long did that sketch take you? Like 30 minutes. Well, it was more like a painting. It was like a painting sketch. But yeah, and he did this cute little still life of these mimosa glasses in 30 minutes. And I guarantee you at the beginning, he couldn't even come close to that. So it's really rewarding to watch people grow and learn and become confident in their drawing ability. And it happens simultaneously through both drawing and painting. So being able to, it's like you're drawing when you're painting, and you're painting when you're drawing. And just because you're using graphite or charcoal, there's really not any difference. You're still pushing pigment around. You're still evaluating values. You're still looking at relationship and the pattern of highlights and shadows on the form. And that's really what she's looking at right here, is the highlights that are here, and then the shadows, and trying to emulate that and that's what gives this bird its form. And as you can see, she did this, fairly quickly. In the mastery program, in this first lesson that she's giving you a peek into, what you'll find out is that when you first start, things take you longer, obviously. And I think you've been working at that not even 10 minutes. I don't know how long it's been. And you have this like incredible bird already. In the mastery program, each painting lesson is about a half hour of watching a video and 2.5 hours of execution. Now, some of you might do it faster. Some of you it might take maybe 3 hours. If you go too far beyond our designated time, or the time that we tell you it should take, you're probably maybe slipping into some perfectionism, or getting too worked up over it, and
because it says the underpainting, so it shouldn't take too long.
So for this part of the process, we give you about 2.5 hours at the max to pull it off. So really, in one evening after work, you could complete the first part of your first painting lesson. And all you need is 2 more nights after that, where you can do the glazing lesson is faster. I think that's the fastest one out of all 3. The glazing lesson shouldn't take you more than an hour, and that's if you're slow. And then the final lesson probably will take you the full 2.5 hours to 3 hours to complete. And by the end of it, in just 3 nights, basically 3 sessions, you have this completed painting that's absolutely beautiful. And when you show your friends, when you post about it, everybody will be like, what are you doing? What is this class you're taking? And every lesson is like that. Every week is like that. Your skills just skyrocket. And we teach you new techniques every single week. So every single week, you create a painting in oil, and we show you start to finish how to do it step by step. There's even a textbook that goes with it. And
well, it's not just oil, like the whole.
Yeah, I'm just talking about the first section.
Oh, okay.
Also, I don't know if you guys mentioned this already, but the mastery program registration is actually open right now, just for a few more hours this month. So if you want to start learning and you want to pursue your passion this month and dive fully into this lesson that Elli and Dimitra are teaching you right now, but recorded at your own pace, all the materials ahead of time, you have the leisure to do it whenever you want, and you have the complete step-by-step instructions, then click the link that we just sent in the chat to sign up now. Spaces are limited, and as I said before, registration is closing tonight. So I just wanted to throw that out there.
Yeah. So the whole mastery program is, I'm sure if you're watching this, you're familiar with it. You've probably been on the website and you've looked through a lot of the information. But for maybe some of you that you're not that familiar with it, it is our one-year program where we teach you start to finish how to become a professional artist. And that's not just us sitting there talking and, then you got to go figure it out. No, we take you through this really well thought out, completely magical, revolutionary program where you learn how to paint, how to build your skill, how to draw, how to see, how to see like an artist and be able to render form and paint and draw realistically. That's the first section. That takes about 14 weeks. Then the second section, which is about 10 weeks, is where we teach you how to find your voice and how to develop your own style. So there you play around with all kinds of mixed media techniques. We show you mixed media techniques. You do lessons like this, but you do them in acrylic, spray paint, inks, collage, building up textures. And we sort of tackle themes and techniques and ideas every single week. And meanwhile, you're learning about your voice. You're on this self-discovery journey where you're learning about how to identify your personal aesthetic, how to understand what your message is, to really dive deep into who you are as a person and what that looks like on the canvas in the form of your own unique expression, so that by the end of the 10 weeks, you are completely loaded up with skill, you're completely loaded up with contemporary techniques and all kinds of materials, and at that point, you're able to really identify what materials do you really want to work with. Do you love oil painting? Maybe you don't. Maybe you love acrylics and inks and spray paint, or maybe you like mark making. Maybe, you love gold leaf and oil. Whatever your recipe is, you develop your own process, your own recipe based on the things we've taught you. And then you build a portfolio and you create a body of work that represents your style, your voice. And then here's the best part. Very few programs out there do this. We actually teach you how to make a living selling your art. So we teach you how to build a personal brand. We teach you how to create marketing collateral and a marketing strategy that will work for you based on your choices, your lifestyle, what your goals are. We teach you how to make a website, step by step how to make a website. We teach you how to do all kinds of different marketing, from launching campaigns with digital marketing, how to really create an e-commerce website so that when you're posting to social media, you're actually drawing customers to your place of exchange, on your website. We also teach you how to get into galleries, how to contact dealers, art consultants, how really the art world works, and all the different avenues of distribution in a traditional sense. So we teach you both how to build your business self-representing, and we also teach you how to go the more traditional route, whichever way you choose. And you can also do a mixture of both. And we also teach you how to sell and how to promote your artwork and really get it out there, and give you tons of ideas and lots of different ways that you can get your art out there and seen by other people. And by the time you do that, you're so proud of what you have to represent, because you really have a cohesive body of work that represents your voice, your style, and you just can't wait to show the world what that looks like. So it's a really fantastic program for anybody who's passionate about art, for anybody who really, really wants to have a career in art and earn a living, a full-time living from selling their art. And right now, it's easier than it's ever been in terms of making a living selling your art. And if anybody's telling you otherwise, if you're hearing people tell you, oh, that's a pipe dream, artists don't really make it, it is not true. I know hundreds of artists, thousands, that make a living selling their art, and most of them have gone through this program. So anyway, it's a really great program. And that's looking really good, Dimitra.
Thank you.
And a little trick of what she's doing is you can dip your Q-tip. So all these are subtraction tools, right? So we have these different nibs. You can even use brushes and clean off your brush completely from paint and have it a little bit wet with the solvent, and it'll pull paint off. You can dip your Q-tip in the solvent, and it'll pull paint off and get it really bright white, which is how she got this right here. And why is she doing this underpainting like this and this monochromatic? The reason is it sets her up for the next stage, which will be the glazing stage. So what glazing is where you take transparent oil paint. That means it's completely see-through, and it's sort of illuminated from within. So the light tones in this bird will illuminate the glaze, whereas in the dark tones, it'll sort of absorb that dark color that's coming from the glaze. So she'll glaze over. It has to be dry though, otherwise it'll get muddy. And none of us like muddy oil painting, right? So,
Oh, yeah.
So she'll mix that with a glazing medium, transparent paint, and that's a really fun part of the lesson, because we teach you about color temperature and color theory. And this type of color theory is a lost art, especially in this country, the United States. There's very, very few ultra traditional classical European schools that still teach it, but very few schools in the United States do. And that is an old master's technique of seeing each color. There's a warm version of it and a cool version of it. And so, like, for instance, Prussian blue is a cool blue, ultramarine blue is a warm blue, and they behave differently with how we see them and how they react with, the rods and cones in our eyes. And it's all on a molecular level. So the cool colors recede and the warm colors come forward. And a lot of artists don't know that. And what they do is they might mix a bunch of blues together, and some are warm and some are cool. And what it's doing is it's neutralizing, and then it's not moving on the canvas. So if you've ever seen Dimitra's artwork, my artwork, people from the school, their artwork, the graduates, there's something common among them, and that's the color. All the color is alive. It just jumps off the canvas. It moves. It's not just sitting flat on the canvas. It's moving back or forward, back and forward, and that's what creates the illusion of depth. That's how you know something. How you can get something to look like it's really far away and other things really up close, almost like it's 3D and you can touch it. So our goal and our aim is that every one of our students masters color temperature and has really knows backwards and forward how to mix color, utilizing this color temperature so that their colors are alive and really striking. And I think it gives you an edge if you are in a show or in a gallery with other artists that don't know this. This is something John and I, my husband and I, have experienced our whole career, is that we're always told there's something different about your colors. And it's because we know this secret, if you will. So there's a whole sort of process to it. We go very in depth about it. It's truly magical once you begin understanding it and seeing it. It also makes oil painting very easy. That is what I love about it. There is so many schools of thought out there about how to mix color, and 20% of this, 30%, and it gets you kind of in your left brain, analytical, thinking too much, sort of stuck, wondering if you're doing things right. And the way that we teach with our method, you don't have to think. It becomes intuitive. So it's a way to really be able to mix color intuitively. And I think it's something that really sets us apart.
Is there any questions, Jake?
No. If anyone has any questions, though, feel free to throw them in the chat. I feel like most people are just kind of hypnotized right now watching you paint. It's just you have this kind of effect.
That's funny.
But I myself have to snap out of it. I'm like, okay, don't forget to change camera angles. I'm just kidding. No, but Yeah, this is so. Actually, I have a question, and Ellie, you might have answered this. Sorry if I didn't catch it in my hypnotic state, but what is the reason why this lesson particularly is first for oil painting?
Well, I think it's sort of the foundation because it teaches you a lot of things. It teaches you about the stages of painting. It teaches you about underpainting because I would say, except for our alla prima lessons, almost all of our techniques of the lessons that we teach you, there's some form of an underpainting. And really all throughout the mastery program, we're teaching you how to create in layers rather than painting 1 square inch at a time. A lot of people that have been self-taught or watch YouTube videos, they haven't really learned how to construct a painting properly. Then they'll paint kind of 1 square inch at a time and sort of finish an area, then finish an area, then finish an area. And we teach you how to construct a painting from what's furthest away to what's closest, from what is most abstract to what is fully rendered, from sort of loose to tight. So that's really the most free and expressive way to construct a painting, and it's what frees your mind up to be in your right brain. So that's why we teach that. And if you look at most professional artists and schools of thought, that's really sort of a consensus of the right way to paint. So what this does is it sort of separates those layers in a very logical sense so that you can understand, oh, this is the underpainting. Okay, I can still see the underpainting. It influences that next layer, the glaze layer. Okay, now the glaze layer influences the opaque layer. And you can really see all 3 layers simultaneously, and it just makes for an absolutely beautiful painting. So that's one reason. Another reason is this first step is sort of non-intimidating. You're dealing with one color. You're able to see the values easier because it's all monochromatic. It's fun to pull out paint instead of applying paint. You get the idea of thin and thick with paint. That paint isn't always just sort of thick or thin. There's all kinds of levels, and how much paint is on the canvas will determine sometimes the value or the saturation, and those are all important things to get a feel for. How much paint is on your brush? How are you sort of delivering that brush stroke? So this first lesson really teaches a whole lot, especially if you've never painted before or you've never oil painted before, and then if you have, it sort of will break off some old bad habits if you've developed those. And so I like that too. And not being able to draw first takes away the control. And so that's the one freeing thing that the mastery program does right away is it breaks off of you this feeling of needing to be in control as you create. And once you get through that, once you overcome wanting to be in control all the time, you are really set free, and painting becomes really fun and addictive, and you can't wait to get into the studio, and you're just, thrilled to do it each and every day. So it's a confidence builder. I don't know anybody who's done this first lesson, no matter where they're coming from in terms of skill set or ability to learn or comprehension, anything, able to remember it all that stuff, whatever deficit you might think you have, every single person I've ever experienced has pulled off a really good painting. And that when they are finished with it, they went, wow, I can't believe I painted that. I really did learn something. I've never seen myself paint this good before, or wow, for a first painting, that's pretty outstanding. So, and it's also a lesson that will meet you where you're at. So if you're a brand new beginner or you are, really advanced, this is a skill and a technique that you need to know. So, it's a fantastic first lesson, but honestly, so's the second and the third and the fourth. And I think they're all great.
Agreed. Okay, so Tay or Tej, wants to know, would an underdrawing with charcoal, for example, work the same way as an underpainting?
Absolutely. And we actually, that's one of the techniques that you can do in the mixed media section.
We do the same thing, but with charcoal, and you subtract with erasers.
Yeah. And actually, you'll do a lot of that with charcoal in this drawing section in the first part of the program. We teach you how to work with charcoal, loose charcoal, block in, sort of smear it around, and then subtract out with erasers. And it's very, very similar to this, except with charcoal.
One thing that I really love about the master program that isn't emphasized as much as it maybe should be is that you get to learn from teachers with different temperaments. So, and even just the fluidity and the way that, you guys hold brushstrokes, it's fundamentally the same, from like a foundational perspective, but there's so many nuances that you just absorb through watching different masters create throughout an entire year, that it gives you a really well-rounded perspective in art. And I just really appreciated that throughout the mastery program as I was learning, not only learning from you, Ellie, who's someone who's probably a little bit more similar in temperament to me, but getting to learn from Dimitra as well, and John too, in his painting. And, it was just having these different perspectives who aren't countering each other, but complementing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so if you have any questions at all that you want to ask me or Dimitra or Jake that pertain to anything about the mastery program that you want to know about, or anything about this technique or what Dimitra's done.
I think this is a good underpainting stopping point.
Really?
So
Not saying that it's bad. It's fun to keep watching.
yeah.
Okay, well, there are a few questions, but first a comment. Arilina Vasquez says, I'm in art club and watch this live lesson just to have me dreaming of doing an amazing piece. Not like you guys, but yet it opens my mind to more. Specifically, I am a self-taught artist.
Very cool.
She's doing an amazing job. And then JL Design says, looking so good, Dimitra. Dimebag wants to know if you have, I don't even know what this is. So, so Dimebag wants to know if you have any info on starting a grisaille painting technique.
Grisaille?
I don't know what that
Grisaille?
is. Do you know what that is?
Yeah, it's basically an underpainting. So they usually use like an olive green, and they make a ground with the olive green, and then subtract out of it just like this.
Oh, cool. Yeah,
So-
that'd be a good color.
Basically, it would be the same, but just the same as the subtractive
Well,
technique.
usually a grisaille is olive green for skin tone. So it was usually done in portraiture, and so because olive green was sort of the undertone in a lot of European skin tone. So and red, right, sort of is the opposite of that olive green. So or pink, right? So that kind of came about as a spin-off of this sort of Rembrandt, raw umber, Van Dyke Brown sort of underpainting. Is the grisaille was mostly for portraiture, but it's basically the same thing.
Jenny wants to know if you could do this with acrylic if you have a regarding medium.
Yeah. Yeah, you can do this with acrylic. You have to be much faster. But
Or
Or
use
use-
open
yeah.
acrylics and
mix-
retarder.
Yeah, then you can. I think it would maybe take this is still kind of dry. It's a little bit hard to subtract. But I love how there's so many different textures you can do with this technique. Like you can have really thin spots, you can have thick spots. It's good to just have all these tools. I mean, Q-tips you can find anywhere, and then just a rag, and then these are just kind of fun extra tools to have. But the rubber nibs, you can get really, detailed little lines, and it's especially good for animals. And I like to do this last though, because in the beginning it's still super wet, so it just kind of, the paint runs over it. So if you do this last, then you can still see those details.
A really good tip too, if you are like, this canvas she's using is pretty cheap. I think it's probably from Michael's or something like that, and it's one of those $2 canvases. So if you're using an inexpensive canvas because it's a study and you're just doing, something academic here, a good tip, which she didn't do, but if you planned ahead, is if you put a layer of house paint on it that's semi-gloss, like a semi-gloss or an eggshell white house paint, then it'll seal the canvas so that your paint will stay wet longer, and you'll be able to sit there and get all kinds of details. I've seen students that do this class or do this lesson, and they probably spent the full 2.5 hours on it, and it's like they have every feather, every little nuance.
Yeah.
It looks like a photo.
It could be a finished painting.
Yeah, it looks like it could be a finished painting. So, and I've seen some that do it, quicker, and it's really kind of a temperament thing, like Jake was talking about. Some people really get in the zone and really enjoy kind of zoning out and doing all those details, and other people just kind of want to get the job done, and it's an underpainting, I just want to get my proportions right and get the lights pulled out and have the darks, which is kind of the route Dimitra chose. So but it still looks fantastic, and it's expressive, and yeah.
So Brownin wants to know, what if the painting starts to dry on you and you're not done yet? What's the best way to keep working on it?
So you would want to dip your
Brush.
Dip your brush in, because look, this is pretty dry. Can I paint on it for a second?
Yeah.
So she said this is pretty dry, and a lot of times, like if I take my finger, I didn't get any paint off. Now watch, this won't work, but we'll see. But if I dip it in the sauce, right,
it works.
It will start to pull it. So a lot of times you think it's dry, but it's not. And you can get a lot of really cool detail just by using, the
Brush.
Yeah, wow, look at that.
brush.
The way that the feathers now look like they're stacking on top. It's adding like depth.
So, and you can just keep pulling it. So using the,
You want to just experiment and try
Yeah.
all the different ways to subtract.
but see, like I can get this nice and wet and really get this back to almost white. So, there's dry and then there's dry.
Yeah, and oil, I mean, it's not going to be completely dry in one sitting. That would be crazy. It
Yeah.
will definitely take a few hours or probably overnight to dry.
Because really the solvent's almost like paint stripper, and until it's fully cured, you're able to work with it. The more paint you put on, like how this is, that's very, very thick there. This is really thick there. That's going to stay wet the longest. So the darker you make your ground and the less solvent you use, the longer it will stay, wet. Sometimes people have the opposite problem, and they mix too much linseed oil into their solvent, and it starts to get these legs that kind of crawl down, and then it's like it never dries, and you'll subtract out, and then paint kind of mushes over it and it covers it back up. So if that happens to you, what I would do is just get a rag and kind of wipe it off, wipe it down, and then start over using, more solvent and less linseed oil and more paint. And then you can cover it back up. So.
Okay, I got a good question for you guys. But real quick, before I ask that question, I just wanted to let the people who are watching know, if you are interested in taking your art to a completely new level and just simply learning how to paint anything that you can imagine, anything that you can see, learning how to expand your imagination and find your own voice as an artist is something that you would be interested in, then you should sign up for the mastery program. And we just sent the link in the chat. And I know there's some mastery program students watching this. If you guys are having a great experience, let the other people know. And if you are watching the recording of this, then there will be a link in the description below this video for the mastery program. So you can join the wait list because chances are the registration probably won't be open when you watch this recording later on. So registration for the live viewers ends tonight. So you'll want to click on that link and sign up as soon as possible. Okay, so the question is, what do you do after this step? Now that you've gotten to this point, what do you do with this painting?
Okay, so I would let this dry and probably at least a day. And then so that when you touch it and there's no paint on your hand, you want it to be completely dry. So the next step is we use transparent paints. And so that's, colors that don't have white mixed into them. So it's like completely transparent, and you mix it with another glazing medium, and that helps the paint dry faster. And it's kind of just like a coloring book. You just look at your source and you just kind of glaze whatever colors you see over this. And so your painting will be like a couple shades darker than what the source looks like. And then you add white while the paint's still wet. You just take pure white and go on top of the highlights, and it's going to pick up that paint underneath. And so you'll get this really, looks really vibrant and juicy, but it's not like the exact perfect colors. It's pretty close to the colors in the source. So then the third final step to this painting, after that's totally dry, is, you have all your colors out, opaque, transparent, whatever colors you have, and you just finish the painting with little details and mixing the exact colors you want.
And in the mastery program, in the lessons, we teach you much more in depth and step by step. So we don't just say, okay, now paint opaque.
Yeah.
Have fun, right? We teach you exactly how to do it. And you watch this painting evolve over the lessons. So we also, in the sources in the mastery program in this lesson, most of the sources are really bright colored birds. So there's like bright green, there's like a turquoise peacock, there's like a bright pink flamingo, parrots of all colors. And those bright colors lend themselves to this glazing method where you're going to see these juicy, beautiful, just glowing glazes going over this monochromatic underpainting. And then you really get it because you see all the tones, you see the dark still, and you see the highlights, and that glaze is like a filter, like a see-through filter over that. So her particular source is got a lot of like gray in it, and the only kind of brighter color is this sort of reddish brown orange. So if she was glazing this is kind of a tough one. She would take like transparent red oxide and glaze, some of these browns and oranges, and then for these grays, she would probably mix like a reddish brown in with like a blue to kind of. Those are complements to create this gray, and glaze it with that. And then, like she said, pulling the white out and mixing that into the wet glaze, so that the darker areas would be glazed, but the lighter areas would be opaque. So when you join the mastery program and you're in this first lesson, just choose a really bright colored bird, and you'll really see the glazing technique. And I think most of the sources are like that. I don't think any of them, because this would be pretty difficult, I think.
Yeah, maybe.
Because you'd have to mix a lot of gray glazes. Yeah.
Okay, so Yaya wants to know.
Wanted to teach in a university. Otherwise, I don't know any other reason why you would want an MFA, but I think this program is really, really fantastic for anybody who wants to earn a living selling their art. To be able to do every single day what they're passionate about, what they feel like they're born to do, what is their destiny as an artist. This gives you all the tools you need and the confidence and the self-discovery to really know who you are and what you're going after, what your purpose is, because art is your vehicle, it's not your purpose. Your purpose is something deeper, and you discover that. If you don't already know it, you discover that in this program. And so I think, I meet people all the time that aren't even interested in art, and I'm like, oh, they need the mastery program because I just feel like it teaches you so many things. It teaches you about business, habits of productivity, just so many things, how to see the world different. It's a really great program. So whether you're going for your MFA or you're not going for your MFA, I highly recommend the program. And if anything else, it will definitely help you know your voice and
your style.
So if you went and got a master's degree in fine art after that, then you would go into that really knowing what your voice is and what your style is. I have a feeling, though, by the end of the program, you wouldn't want to get your MFA anymore, but maybe I'm wrong.
So Gailey wants to know, what about an acrylic paint kit? Do you sell that?
Yes. Yeah. So we do. And we have 2 kits for this program. So you don't have to buy the kit, but we recommend it if you don't have a lot of art supplies because it'll save you money and it'll definitely save you time. And you'll have all the tools that we use in the program. But we give you a list so you can go get them yourself if you don't want to buy the kit. So we have an oil and drawing kit, which has everything you need in the first section. Then the second section, which is mixed media, acrylic, spray paint, all that stuff. We have 2 mixed media kits. One that's kind of the bare bones essentials. That's inexpensive. And then we have a little bit more of an expensive one. We call it like the Mac Daddy, mixed media kit because it's
Deluxe.
It's mixed media deluxe. It's like every art supply junkie. It's not called Mac Daddy. Okay. It's every art supply junkie. I don't know if you're a junkie like I am, but I am an art supply junkie. So, if you are that, then that is the ultimate. And it has tons of acrylics. It's got everything. It's like a smorgasbord of delight,
Okay, great. So Deborah says that the mastery program sure sounds fantastic, just can't afford it right now. Do you have any inspirational or encouraging words for Deborah?
Yeah. Everybody's financial situation is, of course, different. And so since I wouldn't have any, I don't know yours, I could be wrong, but I would even go as far as to say you probably can't afford not to do it. Because if you apply what we teach you and you really, really throw your whole heart into it, I believe you'll begin earning money right away. All of our students that do that have done that, and really share their process and share their journey, they post about it, they tell their friends about it, they allow their heart to fully it's like, I don't know. I think sometimes when something's so precious to us and it means so much to us, we hedge our bets. We hold back a little bit. We're like, well, I'll give it a try. We'll see. Or, oh, well, when I have enough time, when I have enough money. And if you really just go, this is what I've been born to do, and this program sounds like exactly what I need, and it will teach me everything I need to know, I'm just going to go for it, and I'm going to throw my whole heart into it, and I'm going to give it everything I have. I am shutting every door behind me. I am not hedging any bets. I am not shrinking back. I am going full bore for it. I'm not going to be half pregnant. I'm going to be full pregnant. And you just go for it, and you tell everybody about it. and you're excited about it, and you're like, you guys, I'm living my dream now. I am pursuing my dream. I'm such and such years old, and I am pursuing my dream, and I'm giving it everything I have. Everybody will admire you. Everybody will look up to you. They'll be like, wow, I wish I had the guts to do that. And they'll follow your journey. They'll support your journey. And when they see you paint an amazing, beautiful bird, and they're like, wow, I can't believe you did that, they're going to be like, how much is it? And you're like, $200. And they'll buy it. $200, that's not that much. And that's exactly what it cost for you to take the course that month. So
Yeah, and
to sell one of 4 paintings, you do 4 paintings in the month, minimum. Sometimes you do more than that.
and drawings.
And drawings. To sell just one of them, that's what almost everybody does. And
Yeah.
they pay for their school. Now, if you're quiet about it and you don't tell people about it, and you're not really, you're kind of hedging, and you're not, letting others know about your journey, then they don't know, and they're not excited with you, and they don't, want to support it. Then it doesn't happen like that. So, I don't know. I would encourage you to really think about, giving it a try. And the cool thing about this program is that if let's say you feel like you can put together the money in the beginning, and you're hoping that you can sell art along the way, and let's say you just get shy and you can't quite put your artwork out there, and it just doesn't happen, and things get tight one month and you're not able to pay for it. It's not the end of the road for you. It doesn't mean you can't do anything. It just means you hit pause, and you just pause in the program. Your payments pause. But you still are paid up to that point, because it's not a subscription. It's a payment plan. So you have 12 payments. So if you make 3 of your 12 payments, you could pause at the 3rd payment, and then when you get the money together, you can continue and resume right where you left off. So it's pretty flexible, and I just think that you will, if you really apply yourself and work hard, I believe you'll actually make money from the program. So
Definitely.
and we've seen it hundreds of times.
We also have an ebook on all the different ways you can save and make money and to pay for this program. So maybe Jake or Dino can put that in the chat.
We will look for that. Okay, so we got a few good questions here. First, I just want to shout out to JL's Design the Creative Life. As a student of Milan Art Institute, I am June Lizotte. So I guess that's her Facebook business name. But she just wanted to say she's doing the program to gain tools to enhance her known purpose. Totally worth it. So thank you so much for sharing that, June. We really appreciate it. And so Konstantinos wants to know, greetings from Athens, Greece. Does the course only include painting techniques or does it also include ways to market our art too and break through in the art world?
Yes, maybe you didn't, maybe you just joined or joined halfway, but the mastery program is 4 parts. So the first 2 parts, you learn all about oil painting, drawing, and then all mixed media techniques. And then the second half of the program is really diving into your unique
business
style and voice and building your portfolio. And then you learn how to market and sell your work. So we go very deep into marketing and how to actually be a professional artist and build good habits and reach the right people, find your audience. So we really go into depth about that. So both of us, we didn't introduce ourselves in this video for anyone new watching, but we are both professional artists, and she's been doing it 20 plus years. I've been doing it for 9 years, and so everything that we've learned in our professional careers is distilled down in this 1-year program. So all of our experience and just everything we know, we are sharing with you guys. And that's what's really special about this mastery program.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. And so I just wanted to shout out another comment. The stationary nomad, there we go, said, I almost finished the mastery program, and it has honestly been the best decision of my life, aside from my husband and kids. Haha.
Oh, that's so cool.
I have come so far in my art journey. So thank you so much for sharing that with us, the
Yeah, that's
Stationary
awesome.
Nomad. So awesome, so
Yeah.
inspiring. Tag us on Art Social. Share with us your before and after.
Yeah.
Send it to us. We'd love to see that and to feature you in some of our emails and marketing stuff. So yeah, thank you. Okay. All right. Do you guys have any final words that you... Oh, actually, sorry. Gailey wants to know if the art store, it says that it doesn't tell her the pigment grade. Are they professional grade? So yes,
Yeah.
all of the... you guys can answer that.
Yeah, the oil paint is off the charts. It is so good. It's by far my favorite paint I've ever used. Super loaded, very, very saturated, very potent. It's not one of those colors where you mix and it's like, where'd the color go?
Honestly, I don't know why I just grabbed these
I don't know
paints,
why you grabbed that
but
either.
I should have grabbed
Because
our
it was
paint.
super
It's
windy.
way better because, I had to use so much of this raw umber. And, I mean, Gamblin's a good brand. We like Gamblin. And it's affordable. In the 1980s, very affordable, but it's not the highest quality.
No.
But our paint's extremely high quality. I probably would have had to use half the amount that I use today. So.
And the cool thing about our paint is it's labeled according to how we teach it. So, so the transparents from the opaques are labeled, the warms and the cools are labeled.
Oh, perfect.
And so this is what it looks like. And
we go into depth in the mastery program about the color temperature and what that means, warm and cools. So,
Dang, that's juicy.
yeah, that's
super juicy.
Oh my gosh. Well, now I have to
Now she has to,
make
I messed
that
it
look
up.
good.
Now she's mad at me, what I've done.
This pink is the most vibrant oil paint pink out there that I've ever seen.
Yeah, so it's very high quality, professional quality, very loaded with pigment, very heavy tubes. Yeah.
I think Gailey is about to sign up because she's asking good questions. So Gailey also wants to know, can I use pre-used supports to start out, or should I use brand new canvases?
Oh, you can. We always say in the first section, if you really want to sell your art, not your art, you're going to sell your art, but I meant sell your assignments like your bird, then as long as when it's finished, it's not like a messed up canvas or something. But you can paint on any canvas. It could be something you've painted over, you've put gesso over an old acrylic painting. It doesn't have to be brand new.
Okay.
It wouldn't be good to paint on top of something already painted, though, because we're always starting from a white canvas. So you'd probably want to cover it with gesso or house paint or something like that.
That's really bright.
Yeah.
Okay,
sorry,
Carol said if you
they got a taste of glazing.
Yeah.
if you fully commit and do the work, you won't regret the program. I'm halfway through the program and I've already sold work. Smiley face.
Super cool.
Yay!
Okay, so Inspirany, that's a funny name. I like it. Says, I feel like there's so much to learn, so much I don't know. I studied something very different from art and currently am into PR and graphic design. I feel like everything could add up, but I'm not 18 anymore. How do I overcome the fear of running out of time?
Oh my gosh. If you have a background in graphic design and PR, you're
gonna kill
you're
it.
like an entire art business in one. Like, do not hesitate. Like, man, you could go so far. So all you need to do is just learn these techniques. We have people that are in their 80s that take this program and they learn. We have people who are technologically challenged that, go through this online program and do great.
Yeah.
We have people that are, in their second or third career and they do fantastic. So I don't think it's ever too late or you're ever
agree.
too much of anything, to learn something. There's something super healing and cathartic, and there's like a spot inside of us, labeled art, creativity, that, and you've already tapped into it with the graphic design that, and probably PR, that is ready. It's like an edifice, just ready to be, full of all kinds of art lessons and techniques. And the way that we teach isn't like left brain, analytical, linear. It's, we show it, we demonstrate it, and it's taught in a way, it's so hard to describe, but it's like what you just watched. It's taught in a way that it all really makes sense, but it's super intuitive, and you can just feel yourself doing it. But it's not this fluffy, no information, no step by step, where we're just like, oh, watch me and just do it. Like, there's real learning involved, and you learn a lot. So I think with graphic design and a PR background, oh my gosh, you would do fantastic. This is like a match made in heaven for you. So.
Yeah.
Okay, well, with that, I think we can conclude this this live. So thank you guys so much for sharing about the mastery program. If you're interested in taking the mastery program, make sure to click that link, smash it that we just sent into the chat. And if you're watching the description, or if you're watching the recording of this, then you can go check out the link in the description of this video. And if you like this video, then let us know so that we know to create more content like it. Just go ahead and hit that like button, and maybe share it with an artist who you think would be inspired by this. So we really appreciate you watching, and thank you guys so much. Any last words that you would like to tell the lovely artists of the world that are watching this?
Well, first of all, you did a fantastic job, Dimitra.
Thank you.
And you did this, superb bird in like 10 minutes, it seemed like.
Could you step out of the way, Dimitra, so we can get a good look at that one last time?
Yeah, it was so fun to watch you paint. You did so great. And I just want to say that now is really the best time to be alive as an artist. There's so many platforms and tools and opportunities for artists today. And really, I believe that artists are, positioned to be some of the wealthiest and influential people in the world. It's really artists that influence and shift culture. And you just need skills, tools, and to really know what your voice is. You already have a voice. You just have to unwrap it and bring it to the forefront and let it loose. And that's what this program's all about. So I hope that you sign up today and register and begin your journey. You definitely won't regret it. It'll be fantastic. Yeah. So thanks for watching, and we will see you next time.